interesting too, because a lot of the men in our community, when we first meet these men, they are killing it in every aspect in life, every aspect until they walk through the door at home. Because who taught you how to be a great man, a great husband? Nobody anymore. And I've had men say, I feel completely lost or inadequate. And these are men who everyone else goes, wow, I wish I was him. Look at that life, except the part that matters. And the reason the community is so important, and then, like you said, it doesn't matter what community, find community. When we do the work with these men, not only do their relationships improve with their partner, regardless of who it is, the relationship with their kids improve.
Right.
I can't tell you how many guys get promoted when they're doing the work, because now they're connecting better with people they're leading or they're working with. And oh my gosh. And, the only ones who don't see that as significant changes as business owners. Instead, they just see suddenly they're making more money and don't seem as stressed, because they're realizing it's okay to put yourself first and to prioritize things. We talked earlier, I'm going to play golf at least once a week during the season because that's my time with my son. And I am literally blocking off on the calendar now through like October, Tuesday afternoons.
Yeah. When I dropped my daughter off the first time she moved out of the house, and we moved her a couple states away, when I walked away from her after moving her in, I said to her, I promised I was not going to cry when I told you this story, Dennis. Blaze trails. That's what you need to do. You need to blaze trails. You are capable of doing that so that someone can come behind you. And when I was deciding to talk about this today, I thought, it's hard for people that this series would apply to write it down and say, I want this thing. Because in my experience, most of the time, it's not something that's conventional. It's not something anybody thought of before. We've said it a couple times, even doing this series, how we correlated physical energy in your body versus the masculine feminine. If you watched the first taping, or how to see your fear as success versus failure as a whole. These are not concepts that are new. So this is you and I stepping out there, opening it up to YouTube and going, okay, here you go. Like, let it rip, right? Even that is a blazing of trails to help someone who is struggling with this. I know they exist in my portfolio. I know they exist in your portfolio, but nobody's out there talking about it. So if you have to name your fear, maybe you're blazing a trail for yourself.
If you don't lead yourself, how are you going to lead anyone else?
Well, preach that. That's awesome. Yes, exactly.
And so one of the things we did, this was 4 or 5 years ago in my training, we do a 3-year holy shit letter where you're writing back 3 years from now. And I looked at mine the other day.
Oh
my God, can't believe it. I'm living, I had a slash of a couple of different locations. Somewhere warm in the winter was my thing.
Oh my God, you're doing it.
Yeah, I just spent 6 weeks in Mexico. Last year was a month. The year before that was a month in Arizona, and I've met an amazing woman, blah, 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 my girlfriend of almost 3 years just moved in, and yesterday in one of our communities, somebody popped up who hadn't been around for a number of years, and he stumbled across his 3-year letter. And when you dream and you look at the life you want to have, he goes, I haven't looked at that in 3 years. I put it away. He said, I wanted to do this, go skiing somewhere in Canada, somewhere kind of cool. He lives in Australia. they did that. And then there was time at the beach with his boys, and it wasn't the beach in his letter, but it was the same intent and heart set. He's like, the whole damn letter's almost come true.
It's crazy, isn't it? I love this concept because we have people write letters as well here. I love that topic. So there's a really good chance that that's coming up in our training. I was asked to write one early in my divorce process that was a goodbye letter. Goodbye to all the things I didn't want. And then in a follow-up exercise, hello to all the things that I did want. And that goodbye list was long. I mean, in transparency, I was ready to say goodbye to a lot of things in my life at that stage, but that was 15 years ago, and I have it. I very much so have the letter. And when I can handle it and look back and think, man, the things I've overcome, but it's hard to read. It's hard to see that kind of thing. But how would you know? How would you be able to give yourself that type of boost? You know what you wrote. Sometimes those letters, nobody else has ever seen that letter. I think maybe the therapist that I was working with at the time saw it, but other than that, no one has seen it. I think my mom asked to read it and I told her no. No one has ever seen it. And by writing it down, as crazy as people say, well, oh yeah, Kat, I'll work on that. Or, oh yeah, I'll get to that at some point. First of all, we all hated sitting in front of a chalkboard taking notes. Well, I'll be damned if that hand-head coordination did not mean something.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be able to clearly reiterate what we think. It's communication 101, and we all suck at it. You know, we teach communication first week of almost every class that you take with us. And I tell people, I want you to take this skill, take it home and practice it on your significant other. I want you to come back to class the next week and I want you to tell me what happens. There are so many people that say to me, my wife asked me what I was doing and what I wanted. Really? I thought you said you were good at this. Well, I am. Okay, then why'd she ask you? Well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. It's communication 101, right? If you want to know what the skill is, then you'll have to ask us in the comments or shoot me a message and we'll tell you what the skill is. However, the simple things we think we're good at, as owners, we need to do it. We need, as this driver personality, we still have to write it down and hold ourselves accountable, even 3 years. For me, I wrote that letter 13 years ago.
So I have started on writing the next 3-year holy shit letter.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? That's awesome. I really like that concept.
You know, and so I'm looking, going, okay. And part of me, I'm trying to go, I don't want to go too crazy, but I do, because I know the power of it. And it's kind of like, I don't fear success. I'm actually excited at the thought.